Welcome to this HLW Revit 2011 tutorial on placing windows in slanted walls. This is Dan Bracey. I am starting here Revit 2011 with two complex walls modeled in two different methods. On the left we have wall by face that's been done using a mass to create this angled wall, and on the right we have wall by using the model in place component tool, which you can find here. It's preferable to use a mass to create complex walls because you can then use the wall by face tool to apply an actual wall type as opposed to the model in place component tool where you're just setting some unintelligent geometry to the wall category. But either way, I'm going to go over how you would place a window that would be planar with this surface into a wall like this. I'm going to first load in an Autodesk typical family, window family, into this so we can see how that responds to a slanted wall. So I'm just going to browse to open family. I'm going to go to our network location for Revit Architecture 2011 Family Library, Autodesk out-of-the-box families, and just grab here a fixed window, pretty basic family. You can see it's just pretty straightforward casement window. I'm going to load that into the project. And you can see I can go ahead and place it on either of these families and it'll cut them, but it will produce a vertical window, and that is not the desired condition in this case. So I'm going to go through how to build a custom family that will respond the way that we want in a slanted wall. So the first step will be to go File, New Family, and then pick the generic model face-based. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. So here we are in the generic face-based, generic model face-based family template. It's called Family 3 now. The first thing we're going to do is set the family category and parameters to a window. When you're using a generic model template, you should always, whenever you can, try to pick the proper category. That way it'll sort correctly in the family browser in your project, and it will be controlled correctly by the visibility and graphics dialog. So we're going to set this one to Windows. I'm also going to go ahead and save this family. I'm going to call it HLW Slanted window. So here you'll see we've just got, we're in the floor plan reference level. We've got just some center reference planes that come by default, and we have what appears to just be a rectangle. We're going to flip into a 3D view, and you'll see that it's actually a three-dimensional extrusion. This extrusion represents any face, because remember this is a generic model family, not a window family template. That this will represent any face in the project, be it a floor or wall or anything else that you can imagine. However, in this case, you're going to imagine that this plane represents the wall that we're placing the window in. So we're going to flip back to this reference level view, and I know most people are used to modeling windows in an elevation view. The floor plan view in this family is going to more or less represent your elevation view. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up some reference planes. It's always good to set up reference planes first. In a window, you kind of know that you're going to want to more or less control the exterior dimensions of the window. So I'm going to set up these reference planes. I'm going to apply sort of just the basic dimensions to keep it centered around these center reference planes, and then I'm going to define some overall dimensions, basically width and height. So I'm going to select these, and I'm going to go ahead and give them a label, width and height. I'm also going to go ahead and just normalize these dimensions so that we're working in a pretty clear environment here. So I've got left, right, top and bottom, center horizontal and center vertical reference planes. That should be more or less all you need for a basic fixed window family. So the first thing I'm going to do is when it comes to modeling, the first thing will be modeling a void. I'm going to use a void extrusion in this case, and I'm going to go ahead and use these reference planes I've set up as a guide and lock the void to these reference planes. Go ahead and hit the check button, and if we flip into 3D, you'll see we've got this orange box that represents the void, and this blue box that is this representation of the face, in this case a wall. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this void down so it's penetrating this wall, and then I'm going to use the cut geometry tool to specify, to cut geometry of that wall. So now if I look back and plan, I've basically got a hole in a wall, and I have some dimensional control over it so that it's a parametric family. And I can come in and make a family type. I'll call this one 3 feet by 4 feet. And I'll make one more just so we can have something like that. We'll do 4 feet by 5 feet. And we'll go ahead and change this 4 feet and 5 feet. Apply, hit OK. Now we have 2 different families, and now I'm going to load this into the project. So now we're in this project, and you can look at these faces. For this wall by face using mass, you can see it'll come and select the face, and you can click and it will drop in your window. If we come and hit spacebar first, it'll drop it in the other rotation. And we have basically just a hole in the wall. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but it's giving us a nice result. But not so dissimilar from the hole that this generic family is, out of the box family, is creating. I'm going to then come over here to this wall that was modeled by component. You'll see it'll allow me to select these faces. It'll allow me to go ahead and place this object, but unfortunately it's not cutting the wall. And I'm going to go ahead and delete those. I'm going to go ahead and delete these so we have a clean slate. The reason it's not cutting the wall is because this in-place component doesn't want to allow these custom-made families to cut it without being in the component edit environment. So I'll go ahead and select the in-place component. I'm going to hit the edit in-place tool, and then I'm going to use the component tool within the in-place component editor. That's going to allow me to pick one of the sizes of our slanted window that we just modeled and allow me to place it on the face and also cut that face. So I'll go ahead and place a couple of those. And we can also place it obviously on this bottom face, and we get a downward facing window. So I'm going to finish that model, and you can pan around a little bit to see the results we're getting. So one issue to think about is that this type of family is cutting, is following the angle of the face, so it's cutting perpendicular to the face. This family is cutting parallel to the ground. And it may be a combination of both that you're really ultimately after, and that'll be in another lesson how to achieve that result. But I'm going to go ahead and flush out this window family with some glazing and mullions. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this family, edit family to pull it up again, and I'm going to go ahead and model an extrusion that's going to end up representing the mullions. I'm going to go ahead and lock these dimensions so it's locked to these reference planes. I'm going to use the offset tool to create a 1-inch mullion thickness. I'm going to hit spacebar, so that's going to the inside of the opening. Go ahead and hit the check button. I'm going to then just draw a quick section so that we can set these heights to represent what we'd like to see. I'm just going to very quickly just set this to -2 inches. And we'll just have a 2-inch deep mullion on the surface. And then I'm going to flip back into the reference level. I'm going to draw a second extrusion to represent the glazing. I'm going to lock those dimensions. Go ahead and hit the check button to finish that extrusion. I'm just going to test quickly to make sure it flexes properly. It looks pretty good. Check this dimension. Looks pretty good. You know, we've got a nicely flexing window, but we need to now adjust the height of our glazing. So here I'll grab this model glazing. I'm going to set it to extrusion start to -1 inch and extrusion end to -3/4 of an inch. Now I just have a nice little piece of 1/4 inch glass. Probably a little smaller than what we would usually use, but just an example. I'm going to go ahead and load this into the project, overwrite the existing version, and you'll see we've got now a frame and some interior glass. But we want to be able to control materials here, so I'm going to come back into the family. I'm going to select the mullions. I'll flip into a plan view so you can follow me a little better. Select the mullions, come over here to this material field, hit the tiny little box next to it where I can add a parameter for mullion material. And then I'm going to use tab, select the glazing, and follow the same process, add parameter, glazing. Okay, I'm going to quickly save this family, load it into the project, overwrite the existing version. So you're not going to see any change yet. The next step is to grab the window, hit edit type, and you see now we have material parameters. I'm going to select this. In this case, just metal, steel, and glazing. We'll just grab glazing exterior. So now we have transparency and material specificity and 3D views and for tagging purposes as well. So, and I've only done that for the one type. So I'll go ahead and come find that family in the family browser, Windows, HLW Slanted. Here we have our 2 types. This one I've applied the materials. This one I need to go ahead and apply those materials as well. Oh, grabbed the wrong one there. Exterior. There we go. Now all of the windows should be reading properly. So that's the basics of generating slanted windows for complex walls in Revit.